Back in the days when we were still hunters and gatherers, we only ate plant-based and animal-based foods. And when it came to sugar, for example, this was one of the important energy sources that we had. Our bodies made us eat as much as possible of it because those were limited resources in our environment. The problem is today that the environment has changed a lot. Those resources are not limited anymore, but they are omnipresent. Also, food became more processed, and the food industry at a certain point recognized people have a natural tendency towards sweet stuff. So they realized, okay, if they put more of that into the food, then people would more likely buy those types of food and probably also eat more of it. And that leads to health issues. If you look at an average can of soda, you would consume 30 grams per can, and the recommended intake of sugar is below 25 grams, right? So you are already with one beverage above the recommended intake without having eaten anything yet. It shows how easily you can exceed that amount of sugar you're supposed to consume during the day. The alternative for sodas are right now in the supermarkets, if you look at them, are artificial sweeteners. By now, there are also some voices that raise concerns about those artificial sweeteners because they have properties that potentially can damage DNA. So also that is not the alternative. So the one drink that everyone is supposed to be drinking is water, but people have struggles with that because it's not as exciting, it's boring to drink, and that shows in studies like, for example, the World Health Organization took a study where they analyzed how much sugar we consume today, and they said the recommended intake per person per day is below 25 grams of sugar. But right now we consume an average around 50 grams sugar per day. And that leads to a lot of health issues like diabetes 2, certain cancers, and so on and so forth. You could say that we're consuming too much added sugar, saturated fats, refined carbohydrates. Where people struggle to consume healthy stuff is because they just crave for flavor. And then we found out that one can stimulate flavor through scent because a large part of our flavor perception is actually defined by our nose, and that through retronasal olfaction. What retronasal olfaction means is basically that when you eat foods or when you drink something, aromas get extracted. They rise up to the olfactory centrum, which sits in your nose, get there mistaken as flavor from the brain, and then just exhaled. And with our product, we exactly take that mechanism. So you consume pure water, your brain thinks you consume something with flavor, but the flavor is just scent, and that is getting exhaled. So no negative ingredients.
In life science, which is my team, there are lots of projects that we're doing. So we work in three main pillars to support the scientific background of the company. So we have the health and nutrition sciences. In that one, we're investigating the impact of our drinking system on our consumers. So we want to have our own original data around what happens when we use our drinking system. So we are running a clinical trial, and this is going to look at various individuals using the Arab drinking system. We are tracking indicators such as glucose, we are tracking insulin levels to make sure that we can demonstrate what we've already observed at a smaller scale. So this allows us to really prove it at a much bigger scale. People feel more confident, people will understand better, and therefore increase the trust in a system that we know is perfectly safe, but it's good to have that evidence.
By the end of the day, what Arab does is it makes you drink more plain water. The pod flavors at least 5 liters of water because the pod is very small, and if you compare that to 5 liters of flavored beverages you would normally buy in the supermarket, then one can say we're 88% more plastic efficient. On the other side, it's something that a lot of people forget, right? Because beverages have to be transported from A to B. Our product, you only have to transport those little pods, which are very lightweight, very small, and therefore we are 99% more transport efficient than those other beverages. Our pods are getting produced to 100% in the Netherlands. They contain a recyclable material within the pod. There's a natural fragrance. What's important to say about the bottles, it's BPA free, very solid product, so they can be used over a very long time. Actually, I still have my very first Air bottle and I still use it. As Air, what we want to really do is to connect responsible consumption behaviors more with emotional, attractive products. And the good thing is, by now we also have a size as a company where we actually can make a dent. We began in 2016 where we were just 5 people. The market was ready for that kind of idea. And by now we're selling our products in more than 11 markets. We are more than 300 people by now working on that vision. We want to, by the end of the day, think new and provide actual alternatives to the market that make sense.